Told her don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston. Ayy, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh. Send it through quickly.
Welcome, football fans, USFL fans, but most importantly, Houston Gamblers fans to Gamblers Table Talk. We're talking all things Houston Gamblers, especially week 4, and now I'm on to week 5. So let's start with, what do we got? We have our second Victory Wednesday. Let me get over here. Second Victory Wednesday. We started off rough. We lost 2 in a row. Then we won 2 in a row, a tough fought win against the Showboats, and then absolutely exploded this week against the Philadelphia Stars. Now, the Stars did not look good. They don't look good this season. They looked good week 1 against the Showboats, and then now they look terrible. We demolished them. Reggie Walker had 2 sacks. Kenji came in. He had a great game, 0 interceptions. So in week 1, he had 3 interceptions. Week 2, he had 2 interceptions. Week 3, he had 1. And if you follow that trend, I was hoping it would work, and it did. In week 4, he had 0 interceptions. Now, he did get bumped up, hurt a little bit in the late third quarter, early fourth, and they brought in Terry Wilson. Now, Kenji is supposed to be 100% good to go this week. They just didn't want to risk putting him back in and making it an actual injury other than a bump or bruise. So they just kept him out because we were blowing away the Stars. You know, they were not shining bright. So Victory Wednesday, and we got my little banana man over here. He's giving us a dance. I love it. It was great. Everything about this week was fun. We saw Mark Thompson being Mark Thompson, Anthony Ratliff-Williams get a touchdown. The defense looked great, everything. So let's move on and let's talk about the winners and losers from this week. What we saw out of the Gamblers that we thought was a win and what we thought was a loss. So win number 1, Mark Thompson is the top running back, okay? Everybody's going to try and say Wes Hills. I get it. No, Mark Thompson has played 2 games. He has averaged more yards per game in those 2 games that he has played. He averages 1.3 more yards per carry, and he already has 5 rushing touchdowns. Everybody says, oh my gosh, Wes Hills, he's already got 8 rushing touchdowns. Okay, well, he started 3 weeks, and they have force-fed the man. He has over 70 rushing attempts. Mark Thompson has 30-something, 34 maybe, which is insane. Let's see. Okay, Mark Thompson has 34 rush attempts to Wes Hill's 78 rush attempts. That's crazy. So he's coming in, he's running the ball half as many times and producing more. Mark Thompson is the guy. I will not hear anything else about it. He is wild. Right here. Oh, look at the man reaching out. He had great shots. The thing I like about both of these touchdowns is there's not even anybody near him. The man was breaking tackles and then just blowing away. It was so fun to watch. You're kind of what you were worried about him at the beginning of the season because he missed the first 2 games. We lost those 2 games. We are 100% winning when Mark Thompson's playing. The man is a difference maker. Also, Kenji plays better when he's in. Kenji has looked better and better each week because Mark Thompson is in the game. The man had 3 touchdowns. It's just ridiculous. And this week, we're supposed to get TJ Pledger back. Maybe not, but Shamari Jones looks great. So all good. Now, the second winner is that the secondary is improving weekly. This week, we saw 2 different people on our secondary that we haven't seen before. So we saw Elijah, who's number 33 right here. He had a ridiculous pick. Elijah Jones looked great. And then number 21, you might recognize him. He was wearing a 1 last year. That's Isaiah Zuber. Isaiah Zuber started the entire 4th quarter at corner, playing on the right side, and he was getting baptized by fire. They immediately started targeting him, and the man had 4 pass breakups in the 4th quarter. He looked great, and Elijah Jones looked good, man. This right here, this might be highlight of the year. This was a crazy pick. The fact that he was able to jump up, pull this down, he's a difference. Like I said when we first signed him, he's a taller defensive back. He's able to get up there, and it makes sense. He came in, he had 2 interceptions. 1 was on a 2-point conversion, almost took it back to the house to run the score up even more. But I digress. Looking great. Now, losers. Field goals must be automatic. We got Vogeltron. I absolutely love Nick Vogeltron, but the man has missed some gimmies this year. Now, that's not saying that he's lost it, but what we are saying is that he needs to get into his mojo. Nick, my man, if you see this, you're good, dude. Just calm down, make the easy stuff, and that makes making the harder stuff even easier. Like, it's crazy to me that we have a kicker that I am more sure he's going to make a field goal if it is past 35 yards than making an extra point. That's a cool thing to have because at the end of the game, you feel better, but you need those extra points. You can't take points off the board. So moving on. Number 2, there are no second losers. We had a fantastic week. Other than Nick Vogel missing a field goal or may have been an extra point, we looked fantastic. The team looked great. We looked dominant. We're number 4 on the community power rankings. We're number 4 on RJ Young's power rankings. Take that with a grain of salt, but we're looking good. This is the week. We have our future is in our hands. It's in our hands, man. It's not even a gamble. Literally, all we have to do, gamble. All we have to do is go beat the Stallions, and we are in the number 2 spot right now, and we just have to hold the rest of the season and just keep doing what we're doing. So before we get to that, we have some news, Gamblers news. Last week, we saw some crazy stuff. We picked up Niswander, the punter. Drew Galitz was put on IR. We picked up Elijah Jones 2 weeks ago. He had the crazy interception. Now what are we doing? We are picking up Isaiah Lewis out of Colorado. Now, he's not going to play this week. There's no way. He's just coming in. I think the only person that they've had in the past 2 years that they had start immediately after picking him up was Elijah Holden last year. Holder, whatever his name is. He came in. He had an interception his first week. But they're putting him on inactive. The big thing is that this guy comes out of Colorado. Now, a big thing to notice is, more Colorado. We saw it in the draft. We drafted the rights to tight end out of Colorado. This is because Coach Bob Morris, the GM, he is an alma mater of Colorado, and he loves DBs. He used to be a DB. So he's paying a lot of attention. Another thing, who was his DB coach at Colorado? The same coach, Brett Maxey, that is on the Gamblers. Who was his defensive coordinator at Colorado? It's Chris Wilson, the defensive coordinator of the Gamblers. So this guy, he just became available. Why? He didn't get drafted, right? So we might have picked him up in the offseason, definitely would have picked him up in the offseason if he had been available, but the dude was still playing college. He's just coming out. He was being looked at in the 2023 draft, not to be drafted, but he was more of a fringe, like rookie mini camp, training camp kind of guy. And what did we do? We went and snagged him, and he's going to play for his defensive coordinator from last year. He's going to play with his defensive backs coach. This guy should be able to come in and be a legitimate starter and make moves by next week. I doubt we see him this week. He might suit out if we have an injury, but alas, he's going to be next week, and we're excited about it. Now, let's move on. This is a big week for us. There was only one team last year who beat the Birmingham Stallions in the regular season or in the postseason. That was the Houston Gamblers. Only one quarterback had taken them down until McLeod Bethel Thompson, which is a high praise. That is a big top-tier quarterback to be a part of. So there's only one quarterback, and that is Kenji Bahar. Now, I don't know what just happened there. Weird. Okay, let me get rid of this. Boom. Now, key one, contain the McGoat. Everybody is calling Alex Magoo the McGoat. Now, I believe he is playing some of the best football that we will see, that we have seen in the first 4 weeks. McLeod Bethel Thompson, he's doing really well, but it's nice to have Wes Hills to fall back on. They get into the red zone, and they will not throw the ball. They just hand it to him, and they battering ram it until it's in the end zone. So it's not as impressive. Alex Magoo is out there doing literally everything by himself. Now, a big thing that we saw this week against the Maulers was that the Maulers almost beat them. They have a fantastic defense. The Gamblers defense, I'm not saying is the Maulers defense. I love our defense. It's not that. But what they were doing was they were containing him. When he was able to hurt them was that he got outside of the pocket. He was scrambling. He made 2 tacklers miss. And after 10 seconds of running around, he hit his receiver in the back of the end zone. We cannot let this happen. QB contain. You know, in Madden, when you switch every play on defense, no matter what you're doing, you have your defensive ends contain the quarterback. We need to be doing that. Like, play aggressive, bring some cool blitz. We saw Chris Wilson was doing it, but we cannot let this man get out of the pocket and start doing stuff to us. He's just too good. I even put a little goat head on him. You know, I'm having fun. This is a fun show. It's quirky. I'm a good time. Keep watching. All right. So key number 2, special teams are a necessity. Now, this is a twofold different thing because, like I said earlier, we have to be hitting our field goals. We have to be doing these things on special teams, but also Deion Kane, their returner, he has 2 weeks in a row of returning touchdowns on kickoffs. He did it on the opening kickoff 2 weeks ago. He did it to basically seal the game and win the game for the Stallions against the Maulers this week. We cannot be giving up these free points. If they're going to score on us, they need to march down the field and they need to earn it. We can't just give it up on a special team because we can't stay in our lanes on a kickoff. I mean, that's the first thing they taught me back in the 7th grade. You stay in your lane. Make sure You square up, and when this guy's coming down, he does not get past you. We cannot get beat by Deion Kane because we couldn't cover on a kickoff. We got to be watching that. And now, key number 3, never be afraid to take the check down. Why did the Maulers do well against the Stallions? It's because Troy Williams has come in and he has not thrown interceptions. So you had James Morgan for the Maulers. Their defense was doing great, but James Morgan would throw interceptions. Now, Troy Williams comes in. He's controlling the game. He's using his legs, and he is scoring and just letting his defense work. Now, our defense is not as good as the Maulers, but we can take some things from that and realize that we cannot turn the ball over. We can't do fumbles. We can't do interceptions. Kenji has looked so much better, but this is going to be a real test. This isn't the Breakers defense. This isn't the Stars defense. This isn't the Showboats defense. This is the Birmingham Stallions defense. Probably the hardest defense that we're going to play against until we play the Maulers that one time this season. So we have to not be afraid to take the check down. If it's not there, don't force it. We have Justin Hall. We've seen the dude take a 10-yard pass for 60 yards for a touchdown. Just get it in your playmakers' hands. Don't force things. I'm hoping that at the beginning of the game, they just give Kenji some checkdowns here, there, anywhere. Get his confidence up and make sure you're pounding in his head all week. We will win if you just control the ball. All we got to do is sustain drives, get in the end zone. Hand it off to Mark. Rely on Mark Thompson. TJ Pledger might be back. Keeps Mark even more fresh. And we have someone who's a little shiftier out of the backfield if we want to throw a screen. Now, we have the receivers. Just get it in their hands. Anthony Ratliff-Williams in a bubble screen. Justin Hall across the middle on a drag. Just get the ball out. That's all. I'm not saying that this is a gimme win. I'm not saying this is all we have to do. There's a lot of things that go into this week. It's a big week, but we can't be afraid that, we're David and they're Goliath. We've taken this team down. We are a much better offense than we were last year. We can beat the Stallions. We almost beat the Breakers. The Breakers beat the Stallions worse than they beat us. We beat ourselves against the Breakers. We should have had them. We could be the number 1 team in the South right now. We just have to not beat ourselves. All right. So the last thing, what I want to leave you with this week is that the playoffs are in our grasp. Like I said earlier, it's not a gamble. There's no rolling the dice here. We hold our future in our hands. All we have to do is beat the Stallions, and we are a top 2 team in the South. And that's all we need to be by the end of the season. We just have to get into the top 2 spots. Would it be nice to be first? Yeah. Does it matter? No. We just want to get to the playoffs, right? Doesn't matter who's 1 or 2. You just got to be top 2. So we can do that. Look, I even got the beautiful trophy. It's so much cooler than other spring league trophies, no shade, but you know what I'm saying. All right. So this is going to be a good week, guys. I believe in us. I believe in our Houston Gamblers. I've seen a lot more people. Now that we're winning, it's weird how it happens. We're winning and there's more people paying attention. I love it. Okay. Next year, we're going to be in Houston. Man, I think we're going to have a huge fan base. I think we're going to turn out because we are one of the best spring league teams, complete all around. Bob Morris has put together a great team. I am so excited to see. This is the first huge test. Going into the Breakers, it was still, are we good? Are we not good? This is the big test. Now we know what we can do, and we have to go out and do it. So let's do it. All in, go Gamblers. I will see you next week, Gambler Nation. I'm out.
I'm in the big leagues, so they don't miss me. Ballin' like Houston, hey, feeling like Whitney. I need a bag, bruh.